Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to the new subscribers. If you haven't, please push the like and subscribe. That way you can be updated every time I do a new video. Today is going to be the 6th in the series on the Vallow-Daybell and Chad Daybell current criminal trial that's going to be starting up. So I'm going to be talking today, I'm going to be revising my timeline and adding in some of the new information we have been able to get out of the preliminary hearing for Chad Daybell, the probable cause hearing. I've taken some of the information from that, added it to my timeline, and added a whole lot of speculation. Now, mind you, there's a whole bunch of other associated folks on this timeline. We have Lori Vallo, we have Chad Daybell, we have all the associates, and sometimes you're going to have almost like a little parallel timeline. So I'm going to do my best, and let's get into it. And I just want to preface that this video is just my opinions, and opinions are not facts, and nobody's guilty until adjudicated so in a court of law. So let's get started. Chad Guy Daybell and Tammy Daybell. They're married almost 30 years. They have 5 children, 3 grandchildren at the time of this. They could have more. Chad had been a cemetery sexton at least 4 times in his life. He even published a book, One Foot in the Grave, Secrets of a Cemetery Sexton. He also published books, self-published books, 20 or so odd books. That's one family. The other family is Lori Vallo and her associated husbands. Lori Vallo's been married 5 times. Chad is her 5th husband. Lori Noreen Cox is her birth name. She married Joe Ryan in 2001. They had Tylee Ashlyn Ryan in 2002. By 2004, Joe files for divorce and a custody fight ensues for Tylee, his natural-born child. Lori also has an older son, Colby. He's not a part of this crime line here, okay, for the most part. So we're going to keep Colby out of it. A custody fight for Tylee kicks off. And just to note, for those who aren't aware, Lori had said that Joe had molested. I have to be careful with the words I say because I think YouTube doesn't like certain words, but I don't understand why, because this is, you know, the real world we live in where people do things to children. I'm not saying Joe did it all. I'm just saying I don't understand this sensitivity. You can chop people up and talk about serial killers all day long, but you can't talk about certain subjects. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so Lori was saying that Colby had been abused by Joe Ryan in a sexual manner. Also said there was allegations that Tylee had also been abused. But however, a professional, if you look at the divorce file, believed that Tylee Ryan had been coached to accuse her father of sexual abuse, and it was found to be not have any kind of weight behind it. Coached. So keep that in mind. So Lori marries Charles Vallo. They adopt a son, JJ. His name is in the court record, his original name and his original surname. He took the surname of Valo when he was adopted by his relative Charles and Lori, his current wife. His first name was different. They changed his first name. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Charles also converted to Mormonism like Joe to satisfy Lori. That was, I believe it was a condition of the marriage for Charles that he had to be a Mormon, be a member of the LDS Church, so he did so. Let's go to 8/5/2007. All right, this is where our crime line starts. Alex Cox, brother of Lori Vallo, attacks her ex, that's Joe Ryan, with a stun gun after a custody visit. The assault resulted in a guilty plea on the part of Alex Cox. He spent 90 days in jail, and he was ordered to pay $5,000 in restitution to Joe Ryan. Lori even had a psych eval, guys, a psych eval in relation to this ongoing custody case with Joe Ryan. So I think it was the end of July or to August 1st, she had a psych eval. Now think, she's allegedly coaching the children, or at least one child, to accuse Joe of sexual abuse. So as someone, I guess, Joe's attorney, and he got it turned around to where she had a psych eval performed on her. So let's get, all that stuff into the case and see how well she was back in 2011. Joe Ryan's custody case regarding Tylee was still going on in 2014. So if I can do the math, they're divorcing in 2004, and 2014, a custody case is still going on. That's 10 years, folks. That's a whole lot of drama in a small bag. A whole lot of drama. So let's go to March 2018. Joe Anthony Ryan Jr., Joe Ryan, he's living in an apartment in Maricopa County, Gilbert, Arizona. A neighbor's dog smells an odor, okay, and the neighbor alerts, I believe, the police. By April 3rd, 2011, they access the apartment, find that Joe Ryan's dead approximately 3 weeks, folks. Keep that in mind, all right? Dead in his apartment in Gilbert, Arizona. The autopsy results had Joe's weight wrong, according to his sister. Now, granted, when you have advanced decomp, the chances that you could have a weight incorrect, that's not atypical, because bodies can shrink up if they've been desiccated, and they can blow up, like if they're drowned. Now, how a body in an apartment can appear obese or overweight when someone's fit as a fiddle is beyond my comprehension. All right, the second thing that was odd was they had his height wrong. Now, when you find a body and it's reduced to skeleton, sure, you could have that person's height wrong by a couple inches, but they had his height incorrect by a good 2 to 3 inches. So keep that in mind. The autopsy might not have been. It's revealed that he allegedly died of a bilateral pulmonary thromboembolism. I think that's a heart attack, all right? And Tylee was his next of kin. Now, mind you, allegedly Lori hadn't been in contact with Joe for maybe 2 years. You know, she's married to Charles. She's moving on. As Tylee was the next of kin, Lori was notified as his next of kin because she's the mother of the next of kin. You're not going to call a teenage child. You're going to call the next person. So Lori was notified of the next of kin, and Lori allegedly didn't opt to tell the family about his death. Okay, now you could argue that they had a very vicious custody fight, that there was a lot of rancor between the families, and maybe that's why she didn't do it. I think that is cold calculating, and I cannot wrap my mind around that. But she didn't tell his family. Joseph ends up cremated. So now we can't go back and do a second autopsy to try to see if maybe he was poisoned or there had met foul play. Lori allegedly received $75,000 in life insurance payment, folks. Let that sink in. I don't know if it was on behalf of Tylee, but Lori did allegedly receive $75,000 on her ex-husband. The police had no reason to be suspicious at this point, so keep that in mind in this new crime line. May 2018. Putting aside the fact that Lori failed to notify the family about the death of Joe Ryan, okay? Annie Cushing, bless her heart, I love you, analytics. She has a YouTube channel and I think it's a website called Annielytics. It is wonderful. She's covering this case. She is making data sexy. Annie speaks to Lori, following Joe's death, and I believe that Lori invites her to come and to hang out with Tylee and to help her a little bit and with the grieving, So Annie visits Lori in order to see Tylee, sees her living with Charles Vallo, sees this amazing house. It's like a resort. My eyes about popped right out of my head when I saw the pictures that Annie shows in her YouTube video, and check out Analytics. Annielytics. It's awesome. Maybe I'll figure out how to put a link down. I'm pretty not tech savvy. So allegedly she tells Annie Cushing that she's just so terrified about the end of the world and how horrible it's going to be, and she becomes fixated on this topic and says, oh, it's just going to be so scary, and to paraphrase it, we might as well just get in the car and just drive off the side of a mountain because it's just going to be so horrible. Yeah. Okay, the next entry, I'm not sure of the date, but it fits in between the last one I gave and the next one. So Melanie Gibb is teaching a class at church on alternative health in Mesa, Arizona, and this is where she meets Lori Vallo. So by fall 2018, all the players are going to start coming together. You've got Lori Vallow, Melanie Boudreau. She's married to Brandon Boudreau. Melanie and Lori attend a Preparing a People conference, and they meet Chad Daybell. This is possibly September 29th, 2018. There's argument about the dates. It really doesn't matter. The substance of the meetings and what was said, the agreements, the thought patterns, that's what matters, not necessarily the date. Typically, Chad, as an author, would sell his books at these kind of conferences and things like that. So you're going to glad hand, you're going to ho-ho, you're going to talk it up. And he sometimes would lecture on things like end times and use silly memes to illustrate his points. Really juvenile, silly ass memes, okay? You can find them on YouTube. A couple of these little lectures, a couple short lectures. And Chad meets Lori Vallow and tells her they've been married in previous lifetimes. And this creates an instant rapport between the two of them. Yeah, you might as well have sex already. Shit, you've already been married in previous lives, right? That's me paraphrasing. So by October 2018, Chad is emailing Lori Vallow. So they're already that close between the fall of 2018 to October. They're emailing each other. We know because some of these emails have gotten into the public domain. And by the end of October, the day before Halloween, 10/30/2018, Chad is emailing Lori a rating of Lori Vallow's family members on a light and dark scale. I call it the good and evil scale. The title of the email he sends her on 10/30/2018, allegedly, is called Family History Documents. The body of the email is what you usually do when you're going to attach a document. It's like, here are the family history documents you requested. See attached. And when you look at the attachments, that's where you get it. You're going to get the explanation kind of the light, the dark, and then you're going to have a listing of your family members or the people around you and their good and evil, the light and dark scale, you know. You've got the Coxes, because Lori's a Cox. She's born a Cox, so he's got a light and dark scale on the Coxes, her prior husbands, her children, her extended family. Who does that, okay? So this think, by the end of October, and he just met her in the fall, that's how close he felt in order to do this, in order to start this stuff. Keep that in mind. And keep in mind that she wasn't even well necessarily in 2011. I'm not saying Lori is free of any kind of culpability. I'm not. I'm just saying we cannot argue that she is not, that she is well. We cannot. We all know down deep inside that this woman, and maybe even Chad, they are deeply unwell. However, that does not meet the insanity defense. That doesn't meet the insanity element, in my opinion. But let me continue. We go to November 16th, 2018. Around this time, Chad and Lori are buying burner phones to communicate. Heck, they could have done that back in October. I'm not sure. I just know that they have burner phones. They have ones that are specially dedicated to each other so that they can communicate. On November 17th, a spiritual conference is held at Lori's house while Charles is out of town. And Chad drives a whopping 13 hours to go to this conference and to spend the night. Now, for all intents and purposes, I believe that this conference was elsewhere and they just spent the night at Lori's house, but you know, they're really getting to know each other, getting to know you, getting to know all about you, all about your family and your husband that's out of town, and you know, where are you gonna sleep, you know what I'm saying? So the cast of characters at this point, if you want to believe it, allegedly, Chad's the head. You've got Lori. You've got Alex Cox. That's her brother. You've got Lori's niece, Melanie Boudreau, okay? You got Melanie Gibb. You've got Zulema Pastenis. She comes on board. She later marries Alex, brother Alex, towards the end, all right? Allegedly, we've heard she was a member of the church. I'm not sure where she came into it. December 4th, 2018, Lori Vallow, Melanie Gibb, and Jason Mao have a podcast. See if you can find it on YouTube. Enjoy. December 5th, 2018. Time to Warrior Up, the podcast again, part 2. Lori Vallow and Vallow-Daybell, preparing for the second coming of Christ. Enjoy, folks. December 2018 podcast, Lori and Chad, regarding the end of the world. I don't think I found that one. I think I found reference to that one. So allegedly these podcasts are out there. You know, anytime anything is subject to being pulled. So, okay. And also the air date isn't necessarily the date that something's taped. So I'm giving you approximate dates. January 19, 2019, Joshua J.J. Vallo, he had risperidone. He allegedly took it for his autism, his special needs. It was the last time that Lori filled his risperidone. I hope I said that right. Risperidone. And that was the last time it was filled. And then that same bottle was found with like 17 pills left in it later. So keep that in mind. January. You might have a kid with special needs that goes missing, that's gone months without his medication. And think of the impact of what that would do with somebody who's on medication and then is off their meds. January 2019, Chad emails Lori allegedly 7 missions to accomplish together. That's the subject line, 7 missions to accomplish together. January 1st, 2019, Lori and Charles Vallow moved to Gilbert, Arizona. And I just have a question. Why? I just don't know. So if anybody knows why they moved to Gilbert on January 1st, 2019, please drop it in the comment section. I'm just not sure. People are coming and going, and they're doing a lot of moving, a lot of players, a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving vans, trucks. Why? Why did they move? I just want to know. On January 22nd, 2019, Chad emails Lori with the subject line, Demon with the name Nick Schneider, allegedly. This kicks off Lori's delusion. It dehumanizes Charles as a person. So you want to know, where's Lori getting this talk about, oh, you're possessed by Nick Schneider, to Charles? It's right here. January 22nd, 2019, allegedly Chad emails Lori with the subject line, Demon with a name Nick Schneider. Ask yourself, what does Lori do? I'll tell you. By January 28, 2019, Lori transfers $10,000 from a business account that she has with Charles Vallow and transfers 2,000 Enterprise Rent-A-Car points to herself. Okay? That's action 1. The next day, January 29th, 2019, Lori transfers $25,000 from the same business account to their joint account, Lori and Charles's joint account, so not his business, their joint account, and then transfers it from the joint account to an unknown bank account. So it's out of his hands. He's not the signatory on this unknown account. So she was a signatory on the business account. Of course, she's on her joint account with him. And then it gets out. So she's taken essentially $35,000 from him in a matter of 2 days. Also, on January 29th, 2019, Lori allegedly tells Charles the following, that she's a god, that she's assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000, and that she will murder him if he gets in her way. The next day, January 30th, 2019, Lori telephones Charles, allegedly tells him that she didn't trust him, that she would need to kill him when he got home, that she had an angel to help her dispose of his remains of the body. Who is the angel? Was it Alex? That he is Nick Schneider. Where'd she get that from? She got it from Chad. She got it from Chad. Chad's defense is going to have a fun time with these emails, trying to explain those emails away, aren't they? Lori also says that Charles would have to go and might even have to go painfully. Painfully. What has he done to her? And that she would destroy him financially. So, January 30th, 2019, her delusion is out in the open, at least to Charles and to many of the other followers. Her delusion, her beliefs at this point is out in the open. She's not hiding it to him. She's telling him out in the open. She's not just thinking, I wonder if this guy's possessed. She's telling him. What does she do? January 30th, 2019, Lori has Charles's flight home canceled. Lori also moves his truck from the Phoenix airport. So he comes home. When he finally manages to get home after the canceled flights, he finds, and then he, gets to the airport and finds his truck is gone. He finds his house has been emptied. The locks are changed. He has to get in the house. And when he does, he finds everything gone down to his damn underwear. That is some petty stuff, guys. Move over, Betty Broderick. Lori's Vallo's in town, Lori goes MIA. That's missing in action. I call it Gone for 58 Days. That's the new title of this series, of this section of the crime line, is Gone for 58 Days. So Charles Vallow, what he does is he tries to be proactive. He does the right thing. He contacts the police. He contacts the authorities. He tries to get an involuntary hold for Lori, who has gone mad. All right? He doesn't realize that there could be someone pushing her behind this. January 31st, 2019, Charles is trying to track Lori. He doesn't realize she's gone for 58 days. So Lori goes to the police, the Gilbert Police Department, claiming that Charles has taken her purse because he's trying to track her down. She's stolen $35,000 from his business account. Now, granted, she was a signatory, so you could argue that it was community property, but he's trying to track her down. And he snags the purse out of the car at one point when she's at a school, and her phone is in the purse, allegedly. Probably one of her many 50 burner phones. And so the interactions that Charles has with police is captured on body cams, multiple interactions, and also the interactions that Lori has when she comes to the police station is captured on body cams, and thank you for the body cams. So Lori brings along trusted Melanie Gibb and also Tylee to the police station, and again, I question ever bringing a minor to the police station in a matter of this. So allegedly, according to Melanie Gibb, Jason Mao also had been just running by when all this stuff is going down and Lori's purse is missing and she doesn't know what to do with herself and she doesn't know how to approach this stuff. And so they asked Jason Mao what to do, and Jason Mao tells them to go ahead and go to the police station. I guess to preempt the inevitable of having to deal with this. Do you believe that Jason Mao just happened to be running by as they're driving down the road and that Melanie goes, "There's Jason, he was a police officer"? I don't believe that. I don't. I was not born yesterday. Okay? I personally don't believe that little tale at all. Okay? Make of that what you will. So there's been a lot of hash made about whether Lori went to the Community Bridges psych eval that she was ordered to go to, and that the police, when she went into the station, kind of tried to show her how to get around being served for it, and people have said that no, Lori did not go. Actually, in the file on February 1st, 2019, there's a note. It says 6:45 a.m. Gilbert police followed up regarding Community Bridges and told that Lori checked in but discharged. So I think they called Community Bridges, and Community Bridges confirmed that the patient had come in and discharged. Now, if I'm wrong, drop me a comment, but that's what it says. 6:45, Gilbert police contacted and got confirmation. Now, what? Do we not think that Lori could bull her way through a psych eval at Community Bridges? Of course she could. So, I was stunned to hear that people thought that she didn't go, and then I believed she didn't go, but then I found this and was like, oh, okay. February 4th, 2019. Charles files the order of protection against Lori for both Charles and for JJ. And he feared for their lives. Okay? But here's the thing. Keep in mind, Lori was never served with these documents. Not for lack of trying. She was dodging service. So she actually, for some of those documents, she didn't know what they contained. She didn't know the information that it contained because she was not served. Imagine if you know what the other people know. February 6, 2019, Charles realizes that Lori's transferred. The Enterprise rental car points that I had mentioned earlier. That's when he realizes they've been transferred. And he starts really worrying, thinking, oh my gosh, why has she done this? Is she planning to abscond with JJ? So he calls JJ's school to assess whether he's actually even in class. And he must have been in class because there's no follow-up on that one. February 8th, 2019, Charles Vallow files for official divorce. And I, in my legal opinion, just think that that's how long it took for them to try to get the dissolution petition ready. They found that the order of protection was obviously a more important document, so they knocked that out first. And so he filed for divorce on February 8th. He cited Lori's mental instability, her obsession with near-death experiences, her spiritual visions, stealing the $35,000, and so on and so forth. So on that same day, February 8th, 2019, Charles Vallow changes the beneficiary designation for his $1 million life insurance policy to his sister, Kay Woodcock. His attorney had also advised him to do so, and he did so. On February 10th, 2019, Lori lands in Kauai and calls a friend. So this is where she's gone in 58 days for part of the time. She calls a friend, April Raymond, and she asks that friend if she can stay with her. Can you imagine landing in Kauai and you picking up your cell phone and then a surprise, hey, surprise, April, I'm in town. I'm on the island. So she asks if she could stay with her, and she's got Tylee. So Lori and Tylee, they visit April Raymond. And according to April Raymond, Lori allegedly tells April that Charles is already spiritually dead. Charles is dead, so I'm saying spiritually dead. He's walking around. And that there's a demon living inside him. So Lori tries to recruit April into this cult. Let's call it a gang of like-minded people. But tells her that the children aren't coming and she would have to essentially separate from her children in order to be in this group. And April's essentially like, thanks, no thanks. So Lori is not exactly hiding her crazy here. She's trying to recruit. When she finds people she likes and feels that they might be like-minded, she goes for it. She pushes on and tries to recruit them. There might be more people willing to come forward once this trial kicks off with all kinds of affidavits and information and come on the stand and say what she believed and when she believed it. So on February 11th, 2019, Charles goes to the Life Academy. It's also called the Lawrence Institute for Education. An acronym for that is LIFE. And he tells them the following, that Lori has gone crazy, that she's hearing religious voices, that she's disappeared to an unknown location, that he has an order of protection against her, that he is pulling JJ out of that school and taking him out of the state for his safety. Keep this in mind. On February 15th, 2019, the process server is still trying their best to serve Lori. Little do they know that she is probably in Kauai on this day, because she was in Kauai on the 10th. So probably by the 15th she's still there, because it's a long plane ride and then a hop and jump over to Kauai. So anyway, process server's trying to serve Lori, even though Lori's car is in Alex Cox's driveway. They're knocking like crazy, thinking that she's in there hiding from him. More than likely she was in Kauai on those dates, but they were trying to serve her everywhere. Everywhere that they saw, heard she was, they were trying to serve her. February 21st, 2019, Charles Vallow returns JJ to the Life Academy 10 days later. One wonders why. He pulls him out, says we're leaving the state, and now he's back, throwing him back in the Life Academy. It makes me think, if I was to just take a wild assumption, I think that the Life Academy might have been talented in handling JJ. And maybe, you try to get JJ in a new environment, and maybe he's not comfortable, and maybe he's just like, yeah, let me just take him back to Life Academy. So Charles does put him back in Life Academy. But keep this in mind, that same day, the staff at the Life Academy reports to CPS because JJ's mother, Lori Vallow, is AWOL, according to Charles. So what is in those CPS files? Are we ever going to find out? Because CPS sometimes can crawl up somebody's backside when they want to. I am fascinated. I'm fascinated that nobody's leaned on this CPS angle, because this isn't the first time, guys. Stay pressed. So March 1st, 2019, Charles Vallows files to dismiss the divorce. Bless his heart, okay? March 6th, 2019, the court approves Charles's dismissal of divorce. March 7th, 2019, Charles withdraws JJ from the Life Academy in Arizona again, and then they move to Houston. So Charles and JJ go to Houston. All right. Then we go to spring of 2019. Lori, Tylee, they move back to Houston, where JJ and Charles are located. All right. So you're wondering, we're ending the Gone in 58 Days. We're getting close to that. When asked by Melanie Gibb as to why she moved back with Charles after all this stuff, like he's such a bad guy, paraphrased. And Melanie Gibb actually says this with disdain, like if he's such a bad guy, why are you moving back with him? I wonder why you act like that. Wouldn't you be happy somebody's going back with their husband, Melanie? But anyway, Lori allegedly told Melanie she was told by the Lord to get his finances in order. You get back with someone to get their finances in order? The Lord. Who's the Lord? Chad? Lord Chad? This is my speculation. All right. So I'm unsure of the next date, but it fits between these two incidences. Someone tries to get into Charles Vallo's life insurance account, and they try to change the beneficiary designation, okay, to obviously Lori Vallow. They change his PIN, okay? Yeah. So Charles gets wind of this. He calls the insurance company. He declares Kay Woodcock is going to be my beneficiary. Don't change it. And he also follows this up with his attorney that he took this extra action because he saw that his PIN had changed and he didn't do it. Get his finances in order. Oh my gosh, guys. So, March 26, 2019, Charles texts a friend that things have changed so dramatically in the past 6 months, and he goes back over this whole laundry list of essentially her acting crazy, and he doesn't understand what went wrong and all this. It's a great long text, but I don't want to bog down the timeline with it. But just to let you know that by March 26, things were not all happy in Happyville. It was more like, I think he was just trying everything he could to get it to work out, and he was realizing that she just wasn't well, and he was very worried. May 31st, 2019, Chad cancels a speaking gig at Preparing a People due to a family emergency so that David Warwick, now this is Melanie Gibb's soon-to-be boyfriend, I think he wasn't her boyfriend yet, and a man named Sean Littlebear pinch hit and fill in for Chad at this event. So these folks know each other, okay? I'm not saying they're all responsible or they're all culpable or they're all guilty. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they know each other and they know each other's ideas and speeches and things well enough, their ideals or whatever well enough to pinch in and fill in for you, okay? I'm not saying that they gave your speech, but I'm saying you're not going to have someone fill in for you that doesn't believe what you believe. So June 2019, Melanie Boudreau asks her husband Brandon Boudreau for a divorce. They've been married a very long time. I think 11 years. They have 4 children, and out of the blue she hits him with, I want a divorce. She's been hanging out with Aunt Lori and all her gang and has allegedly familiarized herself with the teachings. June 2019, Lori Vallow moves into a rental home in Chandler, Arizona that's paid for by Charles. So it's a home, it's paid for by Charles, she's renting it. At this point, June 2019, JJ and Tylee are with Lori. They're not with Charles. They're kind of estranged at this point. Charles is trying his hardest, but he's starting to see the writing on the wall. June 29, 2019, allegedly Lori forges an email to Chad Daybell from Charles, okay, inviting Chad to come and stay at this home, asking Chad to ghostwrite a novel when Charles isn't writing a novel. He's not an author. He has no intent to write a novel, okay? So it's a ruse, okay, in my opinion. And this is 12 days before Charles's murder. Charles finds this email and freaks out. He's like, why would she do this? I don't want to write a book. Why is she acting like me, inviting Chad over? All these people acting like other people. It blows your mind what these folks are doing. This is not normal behavior. So on that same day, at 10:39, Charles tells Lori's brother, Adam Cox. That's not Alex Cox, it's Adam Cox. It's the sane brother, okay? He tells Adam Cox that he's suspicious of Lori and Chad. He's having his reservations about those two, and that he was going to send this information, this email and all his thoughts to Tammy Daybell or call her because he had located her phone number. He's like, look, I don't know what's going on with this is me paraphrase. I don't know what's going on with Lori and this guy Chad, but I found this email and I wonder if his wife would like to see it. All right, I have my suspicions. And my question, drop your answer in the comment section. Did Charles ever get a hold of Tammy Daybell? So this is June 29th, 2019. He's saying he's going to do it. He's telling one of Lori's brothers he's going to do it. Did he call Tammy Daybell? Did he contact Tammy Daybell? Drop the answer down below. I want to know. July 10th, 2019. Charles texts Lori that he'd be there at that rental home at 7:30 the next day to pick up JJ for school, because he's still seeing the kids from time to time. They're estranged, but he still wants to see his blood relative, his adopted son. So 7/10/2019, Summer Shiflett, she was Summer Cox, she's Lori's sister, allegedly asks Alex Cox to go to Lori's apartment because Lori's afraid of Charles coming over the next day. And she asks Alex to go and spend the night. This is the story being told, okay? I don't think Alex was actually that far from Lori at this point to be needing to go spend the night at Lori's house for fear that Charles is going to do something dastardly on his way to picking up JJ for school, okay? I think this, in my opinion, is a story after the fact. Okay, on July 11th, 2019, Charles Vallo is shot and he's killed by Alex Cox at Lori's rented townhome. Charles arrives at approximately 7:10 a.m. to Lori's rental in Chandler, Arizona. A 911 call is made by Alex Cox about 8:36 a.m. And my question is, when Lori allegedly took Charles Vallo's phone, because that's in the storyline, I'm not going to go into that murder, that self-defense murder, because that's in another video and it's filled with that whole entire day, and other people have done it just as good. All right, I'm not going to go into the play-by-play of that day. We all know something hinky went on that day. My question to you is, when Lori was allegedly holding back Charles's phone, JJ's in the car, Charles, forgetful old Charles, who can never leave the house and not come back for something, leaves the phone inside, and Lori's in there taunting him, not giving him his phone, and he's trying to get it from her, which causes the beginning of this fracas, allegedly. My question is, when Lori allegedly took that phone, was she perhaps looking for his calls or his texts to Tammy Daybell? Or maybe even her brother Adam? What was she snooping around to find out? Because I think when people tell a lie, they also tell kernels of the truth in that lie. And I wonder, what was on that phone that she was like wanting? The body cam videos, the police interview statements, the 911 calls, all the stories given by the witnesses do not match. So if you compare them one against the other, even one against one statement that say Alex will give at one point and then give at another point, they don't match. But for some reason, they believe the claim of self-defense. And note, within 5 short months, every single witness to this event will be dead except Lori Vallow. Okay? Every single witness to this event, the killing of Charles Vallow by Alex Cox, they'll all be dead except Lori. July 11th, 2019, after the murder of her husband, Lori Vallow hosts a pool party at her house with many people and loud music. She'd only lived there for approximately 3 weeks. Already there's been a shooting, self-defense murder, whatever you want to call it, and a loud pool party. Landlord gets wind of it and says, "You outta here. I'm not going to renew your lease, honey." The next day, July 12, 2019, Lori Vallow attempts to file a claim on Charles's life insurance policy. He's probably not even completely cold yet, and she's already filing the claim that very next day. July 12, 2019, Lori also notifies Charles's adult sons of their father's death via text. And there's a whole going back and forth where she makes it sound very passive, like your father passed away, doesn't say my brother killed him, and doesn't give them much detail, and they go back and forth trying to get the information from her and telling her over a few days that this is unacceptable to be telling somebody information on text and not giving the full information. So, by the way, if anyone ever does this to you, why don't you just call the police department? You can start calling the officials. No one has a right to just not to withhold that basic information about whether your relative's dead or not. That's unacceptable. But anyway, July 15th, 2019, Charles's adult son, sons, but one of them definitely received no satisfactory explanations regarding his death of his father, and lets Lori Vallow know via text that this is just unacceptable. Allegedly, also, they at the very end, it's like just don't get any kind of normal response from her, and they end up asking, can we at least have his watch, some of his watches or something, and allegedly she sends them some cheap Timex watches that months later or whatever, weeks later or whatever, allegedly. So it's hinky everywhere you turn, is hinky, hinky, hinky. So in late July of 2019, things get kind of ugly because Lori gets the response from the life insurance company that she's not Charles Vallow's beneficiary for that policy. So butthurt Lori sends Kay Woodcox a text, and the paraphrase is 5 kids and no money, and the sister gets everything. So Lori gets out her phone, is she's all pissed, and she's sending Kay Woodcox a text, 5 kids, I've got 5 kids and I've got no money, and his sister gets everything. Wah! August 10th, 2019, Kay Woodcock FaceTimes JJ for only 35 seconds, and that's the last time she gets to FaceTime with JJ. So you got to think that if Lori was angry about that, she's had about 2 weeks almost to stew about the fact that she isn't got getting the money, and that Kay's got the money, and so do you think she's going to be very amenable to letting JJ FaceTime with the enemy, the dark spirit becoming dark, So by August 25th, 2019, Kay Woodcock is sending Lori Vallow an email just begging to see JJ, but she's unable to see him. Lori's not giving her access. On the 30th of that month, Lori goes to her son, Colby, her older son, Colby's workplace, and tells him that she, Tylee, and JJ are moving the next day to Rexburg, Idaho, essentially to be near Chad. She doesn't tell him that, but that's where Chad lives. And we've heard from Melanie Gibb multiple times that Lori thought, she needed to go to Rexburg, but then Tammy wasn't dead yet and all this stuff, because they believed that Tammy was just gonna die. They had visions that Tammy would die. Yeah. So, but then I think I saw an interview where Colby said they showed up to his workplace and said they're moving, but didn't tell him where they were going. Regardless, they showed up at his workplace and said, we're going. So, and also you gotta think it's the end of the month, and the landlord had told her to scoot because she had the police over, lived there 3 weeks, so you had the police over, and then you have a raucous pool party at a crime scene, essentially. So he's like, you get out of here. So on August 30th, 2019, Colby does speak with Tylee on FaceTime, and one wonders why, if they've just come up to see him at his work to say that they're moving, maybe he felt the need to follow up with his sister to see, what's going on? Why are y'all moving? So that happened. But that same day, August 30th, 2019, Lori has the service dog, JJ's service dog, Bailey, picked up by the trainers. Now, it had cost a lot of money to have the dog trained. The dog is taking on this role for a lifetime, to be taking care of autistic kids or whatever the problem is, whatever they're trained for. And it's a very expensive training. And usually there's a contract when you get a dog like this that the trainer will get the right of first refusal. You don't just get to sell the dog on, you know. So I believe that when she tried to sell the dog on a marketplace, someone got wind of it and let them know that's what she was trying to do, and the trainer took the dog back. So she gave the trainer back the dog, and that's what happened. So you got to think, why was she doing that? What plans did she have for JJ? Was she planning on maybe thinking of giving him to Kay, but giving him to Kay without the things that calmed him down, you know, just to make her life miserable? I don't know. I don't know what was going on in her mind. Was she already planning to get rid of JJ? I don't know. All I know is she chose not to take the dog with her when she moved. So on August 31st, 2019, Lori moves to Rexburg, Idaho with JJ, Tylee without his service dog, you know, and I believe that the landlord had bounced her out. So she had to move, and she figured, okay, Chad has not come to me like he had said he might, because Tammy might die. Tammy's not died. I got to come to him. So she does, in my opinion. September 3rd, 2019, Lori Vallow enrolls JJ at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg. Remember, by now Life Academy has called CPS on Lori. Make a little mental check mark on that, guys. Okay? Keep that in mind. On September 5th, 2019, Lori emails the Life Academy to withdraw JJ, formally withdraw him. She lies to the staff about her move. She says she's moving to California with an aching in her heart, right? And says that Charles committed suicide. Lies, lies, all lies, number one. Number two, CPS may not have jurisdiction in California, so maybe that's why she lied to them and said she was going to California. I don't know. Just telling you what I found in the crime line. All right. On September 8, 2019, Tylee Ryan, who is 16 years old at this point, was last seen at Yellowstone National Park with Lori, her mother, Alex Cox, her uncle, and JJ, her brother. The state exhibit that was used at the preliminary probable cause hearing for Chad Daybell shows a picture of Tylee, Uncle Alex, Alex Cox, and JJ. Okay? Logic would dictate that Lori took the photo. And that was allegedly the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan. The cast, that's the cellular analysis surveillance team for the FBI, what they do is they put data together. They use pings, they use GPS, they use Wi-Fi, they use Google tracking and all kinds of other stuff, and they put the data together. And what they found was that the next day, that night into the next day, 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m. after the Yellowstone visit, it goes to Lori's apartment, and he's there for that amount of time. 2:42 to 3:37. They said also that looking at all his records, all his history, that's an extremely odd time for him to be at her apartment. Then after, he goes back to his apartment. 9:21 a.m. he leaves, and his phone is on the Chad Daybell property behind the house for 2.5 hours. Right after Alex's phone, him likely holding the phone, leaves the property, Chad Daybell's phone texts Tammy at 11:53 regarding the raccoon story. I'm not going to get into that because that's in other videos. Raccoons are nocturnal. This is a story, in my opinion. I think it's a story he texts to Tammy as an alibi and to give an excuse that there could have been a gunshot, because he mentions a gunshot, an excuse for burial, excuse for digging. All right? That's what I believe that was. So, September 17th, 2019, a neighbor's ring door camera captures the last known video of JJ playing outside the Rexburg apartment. And note that by now, JJ's second mother, who is Tylee, she acted as a second mother to him, is now dead. His father is dead. He's unable to speak with his grandmother, Kay Woodcock. or Larry Woodcock, or his grandfather. All he has now is Lori and whatever caretakers of the day are there, all right? Alex Cox. That's who JJ has, and he allegedly isn't taking his medication. September 18th, 2019, a nanny or a babysitter comes to the house to babysit JJ. And the next day, Lori allegedly tells the babysitter, paraphrase, that she sometimes gives JJ his medication early so that he can go to sleep and she can get some peace. So Alex Cox also comes over and says hello and leaves with Lori, according to the babysitter. And the babysitter says that JJ has a meltdown when told that he cannot go back to his friend's house after dinner because he'd been playing with his friends, came home for dinner, and then she said, no, you can't go back over there after dinner. So then he starts throwing furniture and he ends up under Lori's bed. So he has a meltdown, and the babysitter notes that JJ slept on a small, thin, twin mattress in Lori's room. Like, he had a room and it had toys in it, but there wasn't a bed in there. So he slept in the same room as Lori on a little thin mattress. And that Lori, she came back with a woman that was introduced to the babysitter as someone who does podcasts. So to me, that's got to be Melanie Gibb. And this is the time from September 19th to September 23rd that Melanie Gibb herself says that she and David Warwick visited Lori Vallo. So if the person that the babysitter saw that Lori introduced as someone who does podcasts, it had to be Melanie G, unless another podcast person was also there. But please keep in mind that this time period is the time period that JJ is allegedly murdered. So Melanie Gibb was around when JJ was murdered. Did she see it? I don't think so. I don't know. Okay, I really truly don't know if they were kind of setting her up to be a patsy or if she had a hand in it. I truly don't know. Okay, I know I do not believe some of the things she says, but I don't necessarily think she killed JJ. I think that maybe it was set up to have her in all these places. And then her phone would be pinging off all these places. And she would look guilty. Just my opinion. September 19th to September 23rd, 2019, Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, they're visiting Lori in Rexburg. And Lori tries to convince Melanie Gibb that JJ has become a zombie. And she tells Melanie Gibb that Tylee, who is missing, gone, just not there, is at BYU, Idaho. Tylee's 16 years old and she has her GED. Okay? You think she's at BYU, Idaho? You believe that? Okay, all right. Maybe she's a Doogie Howser MD. I don't know. So on the 22nd of that weekend, Melanie, David Warwick, Alex Cox, not Lori, maybe even Chad, I'm not sure, and a real estate agent, they attend to a real estate matter, an interest in a lot that's close to Chad Daybell's home. So on the 22nd, they're pinging likely at a lot right by Chad Daybell's home. And this is in the afternoon. Melanie says in the late morning or afternoon that Chad wanted to show them a piece of land to David because David was a general contractor or something, and to consider building on the land. So that would essentially be putting David Warwick and Melanie Gibb and all their phones pinging away at the next day where essentially the burial's going to be going down. Think about that. Think about the insanity of all this, folks. On the 22nd, September 22nd, 2019, there's a pic of JJ sitting on a couch from Lori's iCloud account, and that is the last known picture of JJ. That very night, there was a podcast going on with Melanie Gibb and Lori and I think David Warwick, I'm not sure, and they see JJ, Melanie sees JJ that night being carried by Alex Cox in his arms, and she assumed that it was kind of sweet because she thought that Alex was carrying a sleeping JJ. So JJ was asleep in Alex's arms later that night, and that is the last known sighting of JJ. On the 22nd, going into the 23rd, late at night. On September 23rd, 9:30 a.m., Melanie Gibb says she left Rexburg. Melanie Gibb said at the probable cause hearing that she had seen Chad at Lori's every single day that weekend. And then she's leaving the day that JJ is being buried, because the cast data shows that at 9:55 a.m. to 10:12, Alex Cox is at the Daybell property by the pond at the northern edge. So let me get this straight. Melanie Gibb is leaving at 9:30, and by 9:55, Alex is digging away or whatever he's doing on the Daybell property with JJ's body? Or his phone is? Whoa. So I said September 23rd, 2019, JJ is murdered and buried on the Daybell property. He might have been murdered in the wee hours of the 22nd and buried into the hours of the 23rd. I'm not sure. Okay, folks, my battery's getting ready to die, so I'm going to stop this video right here. This is going to be part 1, and part 2 will be uploaded tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you maybe to put some things into perspective, and if there's something that's very important that I've left out, drop it in the information below. Again, if it's the killing of Charles Vallo or the alleged self-defense or some big issue, I've already got a whole entire video on it. So I'm not going to spend an hour breaking into my crime line here to elucidate, to further explain that. But yeah, if there's anything I missed or got wrong, please drop it in the comment section below, and please give me your feedback. And without further ado, have an excellent day. Bye.